I guess we're getting started, so I'll come back later.
But I want you to know that I ordered you bed covers.
Tonight is one of our public meetings. We've had these in the past before where we've talked about some of the things that we've been working on, some of the things that are coming up. And especially tonight, there's an opportunity to meet some of the capture team leaders who are here that lead the volunteer efforts that are happening on a day-to-day basis in our community. As you go through the night, I'm going to be introducing our community development director in a few minutes here. But please continue, get something to eat. Reverend King, I believe the restrooms are back there, is correct? Over there if you need them. I just wanted to start really briefly tonight and jump us off with just kind of a few things. And some of these things you may know and some of them you may not, but there's a lot of times that Vision gets involved with things that are not our projects, and there's sometimes that we get involved with things that are our projects. And tonight we were just going to do a quick recap of what happened in the last year and some of the things that are coming up. Through one of the tax credit grants that we were able to receive, one of the things that we went through and did is we hired Jill Cashdollar, who's sitting in the back of the room there at our vision table. She's the Main Street manager and focuses on most of her efforts in the downtown area, although she does work on projects outside of that area. And in the last year, she helped to administer the grants that I'm about to mention in a few minutes. She responded to inquiries from both new and existing businesses, coordinated communication across downtown events as she was made aware of them, and organized and supported community events including the Christmas market at P&G Park, Trunk or Treat, Bunny Hop, and the Shop Small initiatives. During that, or also under that program, we were able to deliver home repair grants, completing critical improvements such as furnaces and roofs across neighborhoods including Englewood, Oak Street, Good Street, Chandler Avenue, Derby Street, and others. We constructed the first new house in the city.
Is it all right if I sit this here?
Right down the street here
No,
on Somerset Street.
it is,
If you
okay.
want to drive by Darren's house, he tells me that this is the most busy street in the city of Johnstown ever since we put him up on WJSC. So you can go by there and take a look at it. We supported the refurbishment of the Johnstown sign, mobilizing volunteers while completing landscape improvements. Awarded facade grants to strengthen local business, including Babos Motors, Bougie Hair, Sylvia's here tonight, Watkins Security, Georgia Song Shop, O'Shea's, Vita Verde, Betty's Bayou, Hairway to Heaven, and Cambria Clothing Boutique. We insisted in new business recruitment, helping launch businesses such as Game Plan and Jimmy T's, developed a modern wayfinding system to better guide residents and visitors through the area, and completed blight mitigation, mowing, and maintaining more than 132 vacant lots across the city, many of those multiple times. Outside of that, we also worked through partnering with the Community Foundation of the Alleghenies and others to plant over 180 trees, with additional plantings planned across Main Street, Central Park, Minersville, it's on the back. Minersville Playground, Moxham. If you're wondering where that's going to go in Moxham on Central Avenue, you might have noticed that Gapvax has moved their fence back. Where we're going to be planting a row of trees up and down that street here in the fall. That's going to be coming up. Expanded our kids' career fairs. You're going to hear more information about that tonight. But last year it started with 2 career fairs for 1 school district, and then we did 10 career fairs for 8 school districts. So that's going to be a part that Mercedes is going to talk more about. We hosted and supported community days in Oakhurst, Solomon Run, Prospect, and Roxbury, with plans to expand neighborhood-driven events citywide where we can help. Strengthen neighborhood organizations in Coopersdale and Prospect, and helping to increase local engagement and participation. Supported the designation of the Masonic Temple as a historic building, preserving it as a key community asset. Activated hundreds of volunteers for tree plantings, cleanups, housing support, and donation efforts. Hosted a holiday event for over 200 children and families through the Women's Help Center, bringing together volunteers, the Santa Fund, and our fire department. Continued support for Locust Street Park through volunteer partnerships. Planned an upcoming Laurel Highlands Hiking Trail anniversary event on June 28th, which we will be talking about once we get the final details. Supported events led by the city, county, Visit Johnstown, businesses, churches, and nonprofits. And help bring forward the free post-secondary education opportunities through the partnership with Penn Highlands Community College. And that's in 1 year. So this year, we got a lot more coming up, and we've got a lot more that we'll be working on. You know, tonight is actually, one of the things Mercedes is gonna be talking about is that these are about your ideas. So if there are projects and programs that you would like to get involved with, there's some successful leaders around the room that you might be able to kind of find the niche here. But if you don't have that, Jill's in the back to talk to you about if you have a capture team that you would like to form and how you go about doing that. Capture teams start out as volunteers that come together with just an idea. How do we fix X? Okay? One of the capture teams is no longer a capture team. They're their own nonprofit is here tonight, and that's JAWS. They started out as a capture team because we were able to help them out with a few things being a nonprofit, and they quickly took off, and they can talk to you about all the successes they've had with spay and neutering feral cats in the area and the amount of work that they've done. I do know that the Cat Cafe, which is down at Donna Christopher's place, has actually had, I believe, and maybe you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was 37 cats. 50 cats that have actually been adopted through that. So for those of us who see those issues that we're dealing with and some of those things that we're going to try to fix in the city, this is a way that we start that. It just comes up with an idea. It starts with, what do you think? And we kind of take it from there. So at this time, I want to introduce Mercedes Barnett. She was hired 2 years ago as our community development director, and she's here tonight to talk about all these fun things. So, Mercedes.
So hi, I'm Mercedes. I am the community development director, and I'm actually the person that manages the capture teams. And what a capture team is just a smaller subdivision of what Vision Together does. And it's a passionate group of individuals. They come together and they have a plan. It normally starts with a need. So if there's anything that there's a need for, we try to help those individuals with getting through that. But it always takes a team with everything. And before me coming to Vision Together, I was always community involved. And my biggest thing was, if there was a need for something, I wanted to make sure that I was helping to fulfill that. So with this, it just made perfect sense for me to join on board with Vision. I just wish that I would have done that sooner rather than later. I feel like a lot of the projects that I did before Vision could have been bigger, it could have expanded, I could have had more resources. Obviously, there's also grant opportunities for this, but it's not always about the money. So with capture teams, you start by coming to us and letting us know you have an idea for one. And that with this idea, you have a group of individuals that's gonna help support that. Now, we do offer grants from $500 to $1,000, but again, like I said, it's not always about the money. For Vision, I was doing it without it. I didn't have any financial support, I just had people behind me. So that's the biggest thing. And then also, it gets scored. So you fill out an application and you become this capture team. You bring in the application to become a capture team, and there's a group of qualified individuals that scores that. So that lets us know, for one, is this something that can be funded? And two, can it be funded for $500 or $1,000? The biggest thing though, do not do it for the money, all right? Do it because there's a need in the community, and do it because you're able to do it and you have a group of individuals to support you behind them. And we can help in those directions too. We actually had people that came to us and all they needed was a simple connection. All they needed was a simple resource. So that's what we are here for as well. To give you some examples in regards to what a capture team is, we have our Kids Career Fairs. And we're actually doing them now at 8 different districts, 10 different schools. We started at Johnstown School District. That's where I graduated from, and it was a success. So what we wanted to do was to expand that opportunity to other school districts as well. And what the Kids Career Fairs consist of is we are actually introducing careers to individuals that are kindergarten through middle school. Now, a lot of people came to me and they're like, why? Why would you do this at such a young age? Whenever a lot of career fairs are in high school. Well, I feel like we're missing them. If we start in high school, a lot of it is too late. For instance, the reason why I want to introduce a lot of these kids to different opportunities is because they know what they see. I was raised the majority of my time from my grandmother, And I watched her have a sewing machine, and she would always make clothes, and she would make her costumes. And guess what I went to school for? Fashion design. So I feel like I was living out her dream, when in all reality, I have skills, I have talents in so many different areas. And now as an adult, human services is my thing. I love helping individuals. I love coming together in the community and making things happen. And if I would have known that sooner on, it would have helped with the debt that I am in for school. So let's try to prevent that. But I couldn't do it by myself, and that's what the reason why this is a capture team. So I do want to introduce to you guys some individuals that helped to create this with me. Come on up. And I'll have them introduce themselves, and they'll let you know what positions, what organizations, and why it made sense for us to come together.
I'm Lauren Lazari. I'm the Early Childhood Systems Coordinator for the United Way of the Southern Alleghenies. I was hired 3 years ago through the Community Foundation, Vision Together, Lee Initiatives, 1889 Foundation, United Way, Center for Population Health, and 1889 Foundation all came together. And one of the really important things we wanted to stress with early childhood in Cambria and Somerset County is how brain growth of the first, from birth to third grade is so important, and 80% of brain growth is in the first 3 years of life and 90% in the first 5. So when Mercedes had reached out and said, would you be interested in partnering with the Kids Career Fair? As a mother of 3, my son's here, he's 12, we're heading to a soccer game here soon. My daughter just competed in a track meet at St. Francis. We have a daughter that's entering college or high school this year and really doing amazing things. It's such a great place to raise a family. I'm from here, and so when this opportunity came about, I said, absolutely, how can we help? So what we did is there's been 5,817 books purchased for the students among the 10 schools, 8 school districts. In the back, there are books that you can take if you're interested. So we got curated books that were age appropriate for the grade levels. So for the pre-K and kindergarten books, What Will You Be When You Grow Up? Just a great title. Second and third grade, fashion was one of those, What We Can Be. We had different titles for the different ages. And then there's also a sample of the bags that the students brought back, and wonderful community resources, school supplies, toothbrushes. The feedback we thought was really wonderful. Doug will tell you a little bit more of the stations that they rotated through. My husband's in the back. The Planning Commission came to some of the career fairs in Cambria County. We just really focused on making sure that students knew what great opportunities there are to have here in this focus is in Cambria County here.
Which is real quick. So one of the things that she really helped me with was the books. So we wanted to make sure that 1, we was introducing the kids to careers early. 2, we was also getting to the parents. So we have bags that we distribute to each kid as well, because there's employment opportunities for the parents. And then 3, we wanted to promote literacy and reading. And this is where she came in, because one of the things she hit hard with me was some of our kids can't read. And we're trying to get them to read at a grade 3 level by 3rd grade. Why? We need to be, as a community, doing better. Not just as a community, but as parents. So us giving them the books and also bringing in the library to coordinate with us in the library, partnering and reading, it's making it fun for them. It's making them want to pick up a book, in the first place, because that's where it starts. And sometimes kids don't see that at home. So bringing in professionals like Lauren, she's able to tell us these are our numbers, and it's real, and it hurts, especially compared to other school districts. So I'm glad some mothers and parents came out tonight so that you guys can, hear the reality of what's true in Johnstown.
Yes, and the key metric of the Early Childhood Initiative is reading by the 3rd grade level, monitoring those PSSA, so being in the school, making great connections. We also put food guides, so the United Way and Center for Population Health created a food guide, and they went home in every bag, and you can see a sample of those in the map as well.
My name's Doug Nepper. I work for Junior Achievement of Western PA. I'm their Educational Content and Curriculum Manager. My job there really focuses on financial literacy, entrepreneurship, and career readiness for students in kindergarten through 12th grade. And when I saw on WJAC, I saw the news article and I was like, this is something that I would love to get involved with. So I reached out to Rob and Mercedes and they opened the door and they were like, we would love to have you on board. It's so important that Mercedes is not only showing them the careers, but once they land that job and once they're successful in whatever job they land, it's so important that these students know how to manage their money. And that's one thing where a lot of adults and young adults struggle with is managing their finances. And at Junior Achievement, we kind of prepare those students for a success story and making sure that they have that job, they know what to do with their finances, and that they're successful. So at the career fair, Lauren and I were usually paired up at a station, and she would talk about United Way, and then we would do kind of a financial literacy activity, talking about needs and wants, expenses, and just to kind of see what the students would react with. And the examples they given us were very eye-opening because a lot of them were unaware of common expenses. What's the difference between a need and a want? And it was just very eye-opening to be part of this experience. So thank you again.
And we have so many jobs, especially in early childhood, that are needed. So that was one of the jobs that we would talk about and what you would do and what schooling you would need. And in your own school, what track you could take. And the administration just really stepped with every experience was so amazing, and they're really hopeful that we can do it again next year.
So one of the things that I love with the both of them, we have getting our kids to read at a third grade level by third grade, and then we have career readiness, financial literacy. There's kids that can't do cursive. They can't write cursive. How are you writing the check? How are you signing the check? Some of the answers, whenever he would ask them, they didn't have the answers to those. So now with bringing him in on this, it's teaching them further than just careers. Now it's money. How are you gonna budget your money? Where are you gonna put it? Things of that nature, that it all goes together. We do have one individual that's not here today, and that is PA Curling. They also teamed with us because it's careers, and that's what they do. That's their forte. So between the four of us, I mean, it just made perfect sense to do something like this. Is there anything after that? So all right. So oh my gosh, the sponsors. I do want to say thank you. 1889 Foundations, Lee Initiatives, and First National Bank made these possible for us. Without that sponsor money, we wouldn't be able to do it. So that's what supported us, getting bags, getting books, getting gifts, just making sure that it went accordingly. So thank you for them. And then again, the team that we have. So we've reached over 5,000 students through this, 10 different events, 8 different districts. That's everything for this one. Thank you, guys. All right, so the next thing that, so I want you guys to understand the capacity. That it's big for you to have people that are going to be behind you, and people that's going to support you, and a group of you guys that are doing it together. Otherwise, us doing it by ourselves, it could be good, but why not be great with more individuals involved in it? So another capture team is Families RS. You guys want to come up? Cindy, you want to come up? Let's talk about Families RS. She's not prepared to speak. But through this, it actually, so last year we did it through Safe Spaces, and that's 7 different organizations that works pretty much together. These are anywhere from after-school programs, the first program. So we did it under them, but it was the community that wanted it. Whenever I was younger, we used to have block parties, and it worked for us because that was literally our safe space. All we needed to do was play the music, give us some food, and be with each other, be with our friends. So we wanted to recreate that in some way, form, or fashion. And through that, the difference was when we would have these, there would not be any resources that were available at that time. Why? Whenever it's the perfect opportunity, and especially when organizations are trying to reach this type of population. So we wanted to incorporate different health and wellness organizations by inviting them in and giving them the opportunity to firsthand give them these resources. So that's why I love Families RS. But again, this is generations. This is something that we've been doing for a very long time. You have people that are leaders in the community that started this whenever I was younger and whenever they were younger. So this is something that once we thought that it may possibly stop, I said no, it's not going to. So being able to partner with Center for Population Health, Magellan, Highmark, Canes for Christ, or Christ for Canines, Backpack Project, Cambria County Library, again, instilling in them, you know, reading is important. They're the ones that help to make this a success. And then also Rob coming out and making sure that he has the hamburgers and hot dogs cooked for everybody as well. But that's the biggest thing with Families RS. And again, I have to thank HC89 Foundation because they're the ones that, again, help to support this to make sure that this happens. This year, you have the opportunity to be a part of that. Please come out, whether you're volunteering or whether you're just showing up. If you're in an organization, come with your resources so that they're available for these families. Our first one is May 30th. It's going to be at Solomon Johnstown Housing Community Center. Our second one is June 20th in Prospect. July 11th, Oakhurst, and August 8th is our back to school one in Roxbury. It's fun, but the biggest part again is connection and getting those resources and making them available for the families. So if you guys are available, please make sure that you guys come out to those, even if you just want to, I don't know, help on the grill. That would be great. But showing your faces is important. I think that's everything for. So with Vision Youth Leadership, this is another one, and this was really important to me because since we were going into the elementary school and capturing kindergarten through middle school, that age group, I wanted to also make sure that we're capturing the older kids as well. So I went into the Johnstown School District, and again, that's where I graduated from. So I'm glad that they gave me that welcoming. And I put a group of high school leaders in one room, and I wanted to see how do you think? Because whenever I was younger, I had a teacher, Miss Malloy actually, who just so happens, I think she's the advisor for the Keys or Interact today. But I went to her and I said, hey, I want to do a fashion team. And it's interesting because at that age, she said, okay, let's go with it, but what's gonna come out of this? And me doing it, it was more than just fashion. For me, it was building confidence in girls. It was stopping bullying. It was getting the shy kids to come together with, the popular ones. It was us just coming together, and if you look good, you feel good at the end of the day. So through these, I had somebody who actually came to me afterwards and said, I only came to school today because you were having a fashion show for a pep rally. So it made me want to do more of that, just to inspire. And now I want to give the youth, the high school students, the opportunity to do just that. There are clubs in the school right now. You have Keys Club, you have Interact Club, Agents of Change. Those are all my clubs that I work with for the high school. But I don't know, and please don't misquote me, I don't know if they're student-led. A lot of these clubs are, they already existed. I wanted to come into a room and look at you and say, what are some challenges and barriers that you're facing, and what are some solutions behind it? And not only that, but how are you going to solve it? Because you have to learn that as you get older, there are so many people that are complaining about things that are going on in the community, and they have no solutions to it. Don't complain if you have no solution, because you may be a part of the problem. So with this, I put the group of individuals together, and I said, what are some challenges you guys are facing? They said bullying, and this is with Johnstown High School. They said bullying. They said there is no resources are available for them. They didn't know what the school had to offer. Disrespectful kids to the teachers. I said, okay, so you guys brought all that to light. Now what are you going to do to fix this? They said, well, for one, we actually do have resources in school, and we do have things available for them. They just need to know. So it was something as simple as a resource fair that they wanted to do. And through this resource fair, they had every club come down to the gym, and guidance counselors, coaches, everything that Johnstown has to offer was in one room, and all the schools all the kids had the opportunity to come down and hear and see what they had. There was a little girl who said, she said, I had no idea that there was a yearbook club here, and I want to be a part of that. Another girl said, I had no idea that I didn't know how to get involved in track. Now with her, she was somebody who was constantly getting suspended. She was constantly not going to school. She wasn't motivated, but she can run. And it was something as simple as that. She found her talent. She now knew how to do something about that. She was now put in front of the right person to get her signed up, and now she's running track, which is helping her because now she's attending school. So that was, another example as far as what we do. kindergarten through middle school, kids career affairs, or youth leadership, we have, the high school students. There's two individuals, Jordan Powell and Kayvonna Jeffers, who was supposed to come here tonight and could not make it. They were actually inspired, from Mayor King, actually. They had a project in mind, and they wanted to do something in collaboration with the city, with Central Park. And they needed guidance on that, so they were sent to me. And now, they're to the point where they wanna collaborate with the city, and they are. The city's actually gonna be sponsoring this. They're gonna do something for Central Park, and this is something that's going to be targeting the students in their age group. Sometimes we have events and we have things, but we don't go out and ask the community, do you want this? With this, it's literally something that they want and that they're going to do together, and they're going to accomplish it. So I'm helping to support that. We also have a lot of people like Mr. McKessick at the school. He's helping to support that as well. Like I said, the city's helping to support that too. So all it took were these two individuals that had the opportunity to just be heard, and they were part of the Vision Youth Leadership, and now they wanted to expand that and do something a little bit more. Do you want to talk about what you donations?
Sure. So you heard me say, talk about this a little bit earlier today, and this is not new. For those of you who have had a chance to take a look at it, this grant was announced 3 years ago, and it was actually a grant that was applied for and awarded to the Community Foundation of the Alleghenies. We partnered with them and the Western PA Conservancy to get together and put together a plan where we can help to start putting out trees in the community. Some of those you're going to be seeing that are going to be pretty evident that they're coming out from this. So like on May the 30th, we're going to be having a tree planting day downtown at Central Park. There's going to be 55 trees going in total. 12 of them will be going in prior to that day because they're larger trees. We do a 2 to 3 inch caliper tree, it's called, which is about an 8 to 10 foot tall tree. And the city asked us to come up with about a 4 to 5 inch caliper tree, which is about a 20 foot tree. So all of those are going to be going into Central Park. If you go down to the park and you see the rendering that they have where they're showing like the little circles, I was looking at that the other day, and to me, I think 55 trees, I'm like, holy cow, you know, how are we going to fit all those in there? But they've got a pretty good plan, and Ron McIntosh, who is the green grower, is working with the city to put that together. So we're looking forward to that coming together. We've already planted fruit trees over in Oakhurst, Prospect, out in Coopersdale, over at Solomon Run. Vine Street now has apple trees that are planted in right beside the building there, so those are available for those. And that's also we've had, where's Nan? Oh, Nan will probably be able to tell you and rattle this off at the top of her head, but we've also planted fruit trees at the various community gardens that people are supporting right now. So if you drive 1 block up to Franklin and take a right, you're gonna see that there's a community garden that's being worked on over there, and there's about 3 different fruit trees that are there. All of those are free. You know, one of the things we talk about, right, is food insecurity. I'm hungry, the kids don't have something to eat, we need to be able to make sure that people have an opportunity. This grant was written with that in mind. It wasn't to put an apple tree on every corner, all right? That was one of the things as I was talking it through, we do have to have folks that are ready to be responsible for those trees. And there was questions back in the day, we actually not only are we planting the trees, but we're also, so we provide the trees, dig the hole, bring volunteers out to plant them. You know, all of that is happening at one point, but then also what you don't see is for 2 years after that, they're gonna be maintained. So we've got folks that are actually gonna go out there and water the trees. We've had one, if you know where the wire mill is in the West End, I don't know if you go by that area very often or anything like that, but we've had a problem and we've been arguing with one of our trees because it wants to be at a 45-degree angle instead of straight up and down. So we keep going over and trying to make sure that that's getting taken care of. Cambria City, we planted trees down the street from Dustin's place at Aces and stuff like that. There's more trees going into the ground, I think, where there's gaps over there. So we're doing, you know, a lot of that. The goal was to plant 400 trees, and right now we're on pace to probably do so closer to 500 when we're going to be done with this. And also, I would be remiss in not mentioning that when President Trump came into the term for a second term, he put a pause on a lot of grants. We thought that the tree grant was dead. And luckily it came back, but in the meantime, we had a private donation that came through that allowed us to do even more trees. So that's been, you know, a benefit that we've been making sure is happening and stuff like that. So, like I said earlier, I mean, we've done over 180 trees right now, and there's more to come. You can see some of them up there. We did a spring and fall 2025, and then a spring 26. That's what we're working on right now. That'll be May 30th. And then in the fall, actually it'll be in October, we'll be planning on Central Avenue in Moxham. And like I said, you can take a drive by there and see where all the new grass is, and that's where the trees are gonna be. That'll be right in that area. And we're taking into consideration where we're putting these, right? Because that's one of the things we've heard very loudly from the city is we don't want 50-foot trees that are gonna bust up sidewalks. We want 8-foot tall trees that we can prune back if we need to, and make sure that they're a little bit easier on the maintenance. So we've been trying to address that where it needs to be done. And then, you know, things like the Gunther Trail, that got some trees in the fall of last year. Sandyvale, you may or may not have heard this, but they had a donation of 6 acres over there. So we went over and helped to reforest that area with a bunch of trees. You probably wouldn't even see it unless you drove back into the back part of their area to take a look at that. But you definitely would see, like over by the bridge by the high school, Johnstown High School, you'll see 3 or 4 at the very top of that, and then there's more right along the Gunther Trail. Conemaugh Valley Conservancy put some over in the west end on 56 on the way out of town. There's fruit trees there and shade trees, so those are available for folks. You know, and hopefully it'll make it a better place to be with that stuff. And the experience has been pretty interesting. You know, volunteer-wise, a big part of this was getting the community involved, allowing people to come and plant trees that maybe have never had this experience before. We do a class that morning. There's a definite procedure that we follow. I'm usually out there running around like a chicken with my head cut off, making sure that we're digging deep enough, or we're making sure that the mulch is getting where it needs to be and things like that. But all of that is happening, and we've had, you know, quite a few folks show up for that as we're going through it. So that's about it. Back to you. Yep.
So if anybody wants to sign up for the the tree planting for May 20th, you guys can either see Jill in the back or let me know, and I can have you guys be a part of that. So what also grew out of that was John B. Gunter. There's a leadership class, and it's through the chamber, and I became a part of that. And my group, there's projects that you have to, again, what is the need in the community, and how can you fix that? So with that, with the John B. Gunter Leadership Group, I was able to partner up with some individuals who their idea was to come up with some type of plan that's gonna involve the schools, and that's also gonna involve fruit trees. So what was Vision doing? We was planting fruit trees. So it just made sense to collaborate and expand on that by now offering it to the schools. And we presented it to 7 different districts. There was 3 that committed to it. And we actually started this planning at the Greater Johnstown Elementary, Middle School, and High School. And that was for our spring planning. And then also in our fall planning, we plan to plan at Wimber District and also Richland School District too. To elaborate a little bit more on capture teams, it's not the Vision show. There are other people out here with ideas, and that's the reason why I'm hoping that some of you guys came out today is to get involved. But there's one in particular, her name is Nan, and she's actually the leader of our Johnstown Grows, which formed after our community gardens that was led by Sue Condolinka, a master gardener here in Johnstown. And when we met each other, we immediately hit it off. It was a very long and passionate conversation, and I could just tell that she was passionate about her job and the community and what she does. So I'll let her talk about what she does for Johnstown Grows.
I wasn't sure if there was a microphone here or not, but everybody seems to be doing good. So my name's Nan McNinney. I'm with the Center for Population Health. My real job is I'm the local food systems coordinator. And what that means is I work with people who are food insecure, and I work with people who help people who are food insecure. So I work with the pantries, I work with the Greater Pittsburgh Food Bank, I help people get SNAP benefits. I'm starting to work with the farmers and work with the other food systems in other counties, just kind of bring local food to your table here. And one of the other things I noticed when I started my job 3 years ago was that we had some community gardens, but some of them didn't look like they were in such great shape, and other ones looked like they were in awesome shape. So it took a while, but we now have, we have 9, let me make sure that's right, it's actually 10. We have 10 community gardens here in Johnstown. And they all look a little different. Some of the community gardens are part of like the Women's Help Center. So they help and benefit the folks that are at the Help Center. The people at the Help Center work on the gardens, they plant stuff, they weed it, they water it, and then they have the benefit of the harvest at the end of the season. The Cambria County Library has a garden, and that's more of a learning garden. This year they're doing, for America 250, they're gonna do vegetables and things that would have been available to folks 250 years ago. The Harmony Gardens, which is over, now I'm pointing in the wrong direction, I know it. I guess it's this way. Harmony Gardens is Napoleon and South. That was once a thriving garden, and it fell into like, nobody cared for it anymore. I now have a couple of people that are interested in working on it. There's another garden in Moxham that is a corner garden, and the deer were eating it and nobody could take care of it and everything, so it kind of just became flowers and pollinators while we're working on that too. And I was approached by people living in Solomon Homes. There's a garden across the street from Solomon Homes. That was a garden for 1 year, and then nobody ever did anything else with it. So the ladies that live there are really interested in getting it going. And some of this is just, quite frankly, food is expensive. And you know, when you're thinking about, do I pay my water bill or do I go buy food? Unfortunately, sometimes you have to pay the water bill and buy food. So if you can grow your own food, that's one thing that, hey, it's helping people eat. Number 2, kids. You talk about kids a lot. Kids that grow their own food, eat it. They will eat better because they see what's happening. Around the corner, as part of the Gunther Group project, they helped the YMCA garden that is literally right around the corner on Franklin Street, thank you. And they just put in really lovely new raised beds, more than they had before. They're gonna be putting like a something with a roof, like a gazebo kind of a thing. There's fruit trees there, and that's part of the YMCA summer camp. So all these things are happening. Kids last year in that garden, I wish I had a picture to show you, but they had this, you know, at the end of the summer, the zucchinis get to be about this big. Well, they're holding up zucchinis that are this big, and they're like, what is this? And it's like, it's food. What do you mean it's food? Like, they had no idea what it was. So the ladies at the YMCA took it back, made some zucchini bread and some other things with zucchini, and the kids got to try zucchini, and they liked it. So a lot of this has to do too with just like introducing kids to new foods that are not like pre-processed chicken nuggets or come in a bag. So that's a big part of it. If anyone is interested, I have a list of the gardens back there. And we, on Saturday, hopefully, fingers crossed, I'm doing my anti-rain dance at the Moxham Garden, which is at Coleman and DuPont. It's behind the sheets in Moxham, so a couple blocks behind the sheets. Saturday morning, we're gonna get together and spruce up that garden, put in some new raised beds, fill them up, do whatever we can during those hours while it's not raining, and that's going to be a new and prospering garden. I don't know if I'm allowed to ask if anybody has any questions.
Yeah,
Does anybody have any questions? Okay, well, if you think of one, I'll be in the back corner. Oh, I'll come back to you. I'll sit right next to you.
I just want to say,
It might be something everyone
Okay.
wants to know. Is there a calendar for when these are being worked on, like a community garden public calendar?
Not really. We're not that organized.
Well, now we know that you're able to tell the secret.
Some of the gardens are, like I said, like they're run by the Women's Help Center. So
Okay.
the folks at the Women's Help Center, they take care of that, and they pretty much take care of their own garden. Marie Mock has a garden in the West End. She's got her West End improvement group, and they work together on that garden.
So they're
some-
kind of siloed.
Yeah, so it's
All
sort
right.
of like, you know, if you're interested in working in a garden and you want to say, hey, is there a garden in my neighborhood? I'd love to get involved. Then I would basically, I always tell the folks that work on the garden, this is not my garden. I do not have 9 or 10 gardens. I don't even have one at home. Like, this is your garden. This is your garden to work on and love and eat out of. So, and then also I should say that we're working on an initiative with the Master Gardeners in Cambria and Somerset County. The Central PA Food Bank in like the Lancaster area started a adopt a pantry program with the Master Gardeners. So it's like plant an extra row, plant an extra plant. What do you do with all those zucchinis at the end of the year? So it's like an actual organized, like, we're gonna take all of our extra tomatoes and extra zucchinis and extra whatevers and take them to this place so that people can come pick them up. So that's gonna be a couple times, summer and fall.
Dan, I just want to say thank you for being throughout the entire county at the Penn State, working on Penn State Extension, the Farm Bureau breakfast in the morning, their evening meetings, and just doing what you're doing and educating folks throughout the entire county. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, that's it.
Are you with the extension?
Thank you.
Are you with the extension? Oh.
I'm with everybody.
Oh, sorry. All right, so our next one is Green Space. This one is actually led by Gary Weibel. One thing that's important is we need to clean up our neighborhoods. And with him, he's always doing these cleanups on the highway, and we want to make sure that it continues to grow. So we'll get volunteers out to help him out because we don't want this to be a one-man show. Again, it's our community. Let's get involved in these. And if this is something that you do want to be a part of, or you need community service, please go and see the table back there that says Green Space and sign up. Or give me some contacts so that I can get them signed up, because this is something that we have to make sure that we make this a priority. You want to come up here?
Oh, sure, I can give a quick update about the, Hi, hello everyone. As Mercedes said, I'm Gary Weibel. I lead up the Green Space Capture Team. This is one of the earlier capture teams. It was around since 2015, since the basically the inception of the Vision Together project. So we do, one of the major things we do is the Adopt a Highway that runs on the lower end of Monaco, starting up the Chapin Arch and going down through the city. We also have helped with the Locust Street Park, getting that cleaned up with help from the Conemaugh Nurses Association. I know Rob said about that earlier on in this meeting. In addition to that, we help with the story walk down by P&G Park, cleaning that area up and making sure any of the flower beds are kind of attended to, because they can get overgrown pretty quickly down there. So that's largely where our focus is, and where we plan to just continue to do that throughout the rest of the year. So, and as I said, we're always looking for new volunteers, people who are willing to help out. So if you are looking to do something like that, I'll be back there after we're done with the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Kim. So you're late. Fashionably. So we did go over Families RS, but the reason why I want to bring Kim up is because she plays a major part in that. And if it wasn't for her, then a lot of the, it wouldn't run how we need it to run, especially if it's going to be for our families and our community. So I want her to speak on behalf of what she does and, the Families RS. And I don't think she gives herself enough credit. I really don't.
Well, good evening, everybody. I am Kimberly Murray. We've been doing, Families R Us, we all basically came together. I'm excited for these events every year because the kids have so much fun, the parents get the resources, and it's a good time and really educational for the kids. It's myself, Mercedes and Rob and Vision, and with the YMCA, Safe Spaces, and of course 1889. And we all come together basically to make these things happen. I am a singer and songwriter. I sing with Smooth Sound Band, born and raised in Philadelphia, lived here for 23 years. at this point. So, and I've raised my kids here, you know, from elementary all the way up to graduating high school and college. So I really do take these events serious when it comes to getting to the kids and letting them know, you know, you have people out here that'll just help you. I originally started this work with Hope for Johnstown, but of course with the organization since closing, I'm just proud to make sure that I continue to do this with the organizations that we have, like Safe Spaces and Vision in 1889. Also, I currently work as far as like my outside job, I work with WellCare Healthcare. More helping. Basically, I call members, we talk benefits, claims, and I help people understand their benefits, and I love to. Of course, if anybody in here, or if you know anybody anywhere that would want to come and maybe help, or maybe you have kids at home and you're like, I just want to get them out the house and make them go do something for the day, please reach out to us. We will give them something to do. We love to give them something to do. But honestly, that's really like the most for me, because these are exciting and I have fun doing them. Anybody have any questions about Families Are Us? Also, Families Are Us is not a new nonprofit. I do want to put that out there, that Families Are Us is not a new nonprofit. This is basically all of these organizations and myself and Sid too coming together in the continuation of keeping our promise to the community, making sure that everybody gets what we originally promised, which was free events, fun, and things to do for the kids. So, thank you guys. Thank you for
Josh, do you guys want to say something? I think it might be important because I want you guys to also, here, come up here. I want you guys to see that it can be, you know, a capture team, volunteer, and you know, things like that. We want to push you guys to get to a higher level, and that's where they are at this point. Now they are officially their own nonprofit, and this is growth. So you guys can talk a little bit about what you guys.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes, we are a nonprofit. Yes. A lot of hard work, blood, sweat, and tears went into that. So my name is Michelle Trotz. This is Heidi Lansendorfer, and I'll let her kind of piggyback off. I'll get started. We have some flyers back here with some of our stats that are current-ish, and as Rob mentioned earlier, off of that as well. Yes, we have the Cat Cafe, which opened February 14th, and we have had 51 cats adopted out of there since February 14th. We are very passionate about, you know, seeing that this problem everybody likes to complain about, that, you know, we are part of the solution. And we work really, really, really hard, night and day, holidays, blizzards, 100-degree temperatures. It really doesn't matter. We are out there all the time working to try to solve this. I'm a foster, I'm a volunteer. I have already had times like over the holidays where I had 11 cats in my home. You know, you find a way, you do it. You know, you get them taken care of. Heidi can speak for the dogs. You know, she, and somehow, some way, she always ends up with the cats that are, you know, 3-legged or shaved down. Diabetic. Right. So she can speak on that. But, you know, back here at the table, we have a sign-up sheet. There is nothing you can offer that we cannot utilize. And I do mean that from the bottom of my heart. You do not have to be fostering. You do not have to be out with us in the trenches trying to trap cats or go rescue dogs that are out running in the alleys or you know, fostering dogs. You know, you don't have to be that hands-on. If you just have administration skills that you can offer us, if you can drive animals, if you can just help us with applications, if you want to just donate, this costs a lot of money to do. You know, Heidi, like she said, she has a cat right now that's a diabetic she gives insulin to. This costs a lot of money. So I'll stop talking and let Heidi jump in about Cinnamon's closet and some of the dogs that she has taken care of, and Silas. Canines for Christ.
So some of you guys from Family RS know me with Silas, the dog with the biggest head. So like this. But let me say this, there is, a lot of people aren't aware, we have a huge overpopulation of animals. That's why they're running the streets, the cats are everywhere. It's really, really bad. And the average person says, we'll just take them to the Humane Society. Shelters are full, rescues are full. What JAWS does is take these abused, unwanted animals, homeless animals, we fix them and we find them homes. To date, 497 animals we have rescued. Cats, chickens, including a rooster.
Is it your house?
Close, it was close. It was close to going to our house.
And dogs. So the thing too is a lot of people hear JAWS and the Cat Cafe, and I like to advocate because anybody who knows me knows I'm the pity mom. My house is full of pit bulls. So we do help dogs. We help whatever we can, whatever we have the means to. So anyone can help, like she said. Right now, a lot of it, I spoke at City Council about the problem with overpopulation. We have spayed and neutered besides the chickens and the rooster, 490 some animals. So we're part of the solution. I do bring my dog that is a therapy dog to Families R Us. He was a street dog. He is a rescue. He is AKC certified with his canine good citizenship. So no one's beyond redemption. Let me say that too. So yeah, we're here to help and we're here to make a difference. Right now, as we speak, there is emergency with 30 to 40 dogs in Somerset that several rescues are working with.
It's a hoarding situation.
Getting one tonight. Please don't buy from breeders. These were all breeder dogs.
Yeah.
And so right now I'm getting another one. But yeah, this is what we do. This is our passion. And if anyone has any questions, feel free to come and ask us too.
And also, I do want to add very quickly, you know, we have a person who's dedicated to getting all of our animals to clinic. We run a monthly clinic for neuter and spay. Again, you know, it's a little less expensive, still costs money. So, you know, we do run these animals to clinic for spay and neuter monthly. She's responsible for getting that all organized. Then, you know, we do have to have people on hand. Sometimes they get back because they may be running these animals to Greensburg or whatnot. They get back and sometimes the fosters can't be right there at 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon to get their animals back. So then, you know, it requires an awful lot of delegation and just working together. And, you know, we pass these cats around like it's unbelievable. You see people outside at 11 o'clock at night with these cats in cages. You wonder what's going on. We're doing it all the time. But you know what? We make it work. JawsCares.org, that is our beautiful website. There is a Zephy link there. If you know somebody that would like to donate or reach out or volunteer, or hey, I have a bag of dog food, that is really where you can reach out to us there. If you want to just help, or you want to say, I have this skill set, I don't know if it's helpful or not, please let me know. Reach out right there at JawsCares.org, and we will put you to work. We really will.
Yeah, and if you have any questions, you can contact our Facebook page at Johnstown Animal Welfare Society.
Yep.
I'm a member also, but I run Cinnamon's Closet, which supports all this and does fostering and some rescuing. But we also work with multiple rescues and other organizations, so even if we can't do anything at the time, we can try to point you to the resources and the people who can help you.
And if today you want to sign up for anything, I do have a sign-up sheet in the back. And thank you for supporting JAWS.
Yep.
So, funny story, the first time that I went to a JAWS meeting, I'm sitting there and it's like 9 o'clock at night, you know, I'm listening to all this stuff, and I have to admit something, and I feel that I can confess this in this setting. I'm not a cat person. So, I'm sitting there, yeah, I know, me and the dogs, you got me there, but we're sitting there in the middle of a meeting, and in the middle of the meeting, somebody gets a phone call, and they're like, there's 11 cat kittens down on the trail on Gunther. We gotta take or down at the Mayor Trail. And I'm going, oh, okay. You know, like, all right, meeting over. They all stand up and leave. And I'm like sitting there going, are you serious?
Yeah.
You know, and they were very serious. They just left right then. The meeting, the cats were more important than anything else. So, so up on there, you'll see some of our other capture teams that are kind of one of the ones that we touch on a few times a year, and we do have more information back there. The leaders couldn't make it with us tonight. It's Barb Zablotny's birthday, so anybody that knows Barb can say happy birthday to her when you see her and tell her that I outed her at our meeting here tonight. She is former Miss Wheelchair of Pennsylvania and the leader of our Washington event, which is where we bring wheelchairs together and actually tune them up for the people who have to be in a chair for the majority of their lives. I asked the question one time of Barb, I said, why are we doing this? And she goes, imagine sitting on your floorboards in your car every day, regardless of how nasty they get and stuff like that. I said, got it. So we've been able to do that. Mike Cook, who leads the Bikes and Trails capture team, for those of you who don't know, there's a whole maze of trails that come down the side of the hill beside the inclined plane, and he's been responsible for those. Craig Saylor's been working on the train station forever. They just did their cleanup and their spring planting and stuff like that, so that's something that he's working on. And then one of the other ones, which was kind of what we call a little bit of a pop-up one, is you'll see in the lower left-hand corner there, last year we had a volunteer actually come up and say, hey, what if we had a Christmas party for kids who needed it? Well, you know, if you're not aware, there's a thing called the Santa Fund here in town. They have the presents. We got the party together, contacted the Women's Help Center. I said, hey, we'd like to throw a party, thinking that we were gonna get like 10 or 20 kids that they had in the program. And Roxanne said to me, well, we've had 200 in the last year, can you do that? And I said, sure. So then I called him and I said, I need your help. And they brought Santa Claus down that day, and we got the Masons to help us out by donating the temple for the day, and we got food donated and all that other stuff, and I can't really think of a better example of a group of people coming together to talk about that. So before we leave tonight, we want to reiterate, and there's a couple other folks who want to come up or one other person I want to invite up to talk. But if you're interested, it's this simple, okay? Connect with Vision if you want to build your own capture team, to build your team and write an action plan. In other words, what are you doing? What are you coming together for? What work would you like to do in the community, so we can be aware of who you are and make sure that we're not duplicating efforts if there's things like that out there. Build momentum, secure resources and support, fill out a capture team application. The application is not so that you form the capture team, it's actually so you can get a grant. And that helps us to identify how that will help the community out. And then start your project, track your progress, accomplish your mission, and then that's basically about it. And if you keep going, then we'll keep supporting you. That's the way that we do this. In this upcoming year, like Kim was talking about before, this is the 4th year?
This is the 4th year.
Yeah. 4th year we've been doing the community events, and every year, you know, we get to the end of the year and we're all really tired and stuff like that, and then we look back and we go, how many hamburgers did we serve? You know, and stuff like that. And it's really amazing. And when you talk about individual experiences and stuff like that, one that jumps out at me, we were at Oakhurst last year, and you know, obviously we're in the middle of the housing projects. There's some folks there with food insecurities. This guy comes up wearing jeans and a bag over his shoulder and no shirt and no shoes. And I'm going, okay. And he comes up and he says, hey, I'm homeless. And I said, okay. And he goes, can I get some food? And I'm like, absolutely. You know, you can eat as much as you want. He goes, can I take some back to my camp? And I said, absolutely. and he ended up going home with a plastic bag full of hamburgers that day. And I would like to think that either he ate them all or his friends got a meal that day, because if nothing else, I look at that and the whole year, all the sweat, all the pain in the butts that we had of trying to make sure that everybody's getting filled, that comes down to that instance. So we're about to kind of tie things up tonight. There's plenty of food over here, but before we go, I'd like to introduce our new board president. Mike Kane is here tonight. He is the CEO of the Community Foundation of the Alleghenies. He has been a huge supporter for us all the way back to the beginning of Vision, and definitely been a great supporter for me over the last several months and beyond. Before that, it's definitely good to have somebody like Mike Kane in your corner, because you can reach out to him and ask him anything, and he'll definitely help you out with it. And I want to thank everybody for coming tonight. I know it's a fairly small crowd, but to be honest, this is a bigger crowd than we were expecting, because it's so nice outside. We kind of figured everybody would blow us off and go out and, you know, enjoy the weather and stuff like that before it rains again. We've had, if you haven't noticed, Commissioner Janicki got his pictures and he left. But he says hi. Mark Pastrell is here, who's on our board. Mike's on our board. Reverend King is here, the mayor of Johnstown, obviously. And our fire chief, who is not allowed to speak, is here tonight. So if you guys have any questions when we're done tonight, I will be here till 7 o'clock. But Mike, could you come up and say maybe a few words? No.
Thank you, Rob. In terms of, becoming the new chair of Vision, I've been on the board since the start, as Rob mentioned. I hope to be partners with you all in bettering our community, in energizing our community, and in working together to really make Johnstown what the goal of Vision, what is Vision's goal, but really everybody's goal. We want to be a vibrant community that works together to be all we can be. It's really not any more complicated than that. And you guys are all already doing that. So thank you. From the bottom of my heart, I can't tell you how much it's appreciated. I'd like to thank, is it the Reverend Mayor or the Mayor Reverend? How do I do it? For hosting with Christ Center Community Church, and for the wonderful food that's here tonight. Thank you. And again, to the capture teams, to Rob, obviously Rob and Mercedes and the team, but to the capture teams for the work you're doing. And is Jill here? Oh, Jill's way in the back. Hi, Jill. And the only thing I want to say is, let's do more together. Thank you very much.
So that's it for tonight, folks. If you have any questions, the capture teams are going to be at their tables. I'll be up front.
Yeah, go ahead. If I may just make one announcement. As some of you may know, this Thursday is National Day of Prayer. So this Thursday, we are having we're calling a canvas for kindness. A canvas for kindness. I have been with Vision from the first meeting, and I encourage those of you who maybe do not know this organization or the people to judge for yourself, to get to know them. Don't go by what you hear or what you read. It has been a blessing to me as an individual, then even as a church, to be involved in this organization, because I got to meet so many great people who I have built relationships with, and as a result, we support one another. On this Thursday, we're going to meet at 4:30 at Christ Center at our second location. We now have a location in Moxham. We've been there for a month, and we're still trying to get things together, but this opportunity presented itself. And sometimes, even when something bad happens, you can still find the good in it. And the good in it is that people wanted to come together and say, you know what, we need to work together. We need to know one another. We need to share a little bit more. So we're going to share. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to meet at 4:30 at 536 Grove Avenue. That is the home of our location in Moxham. And we are going to canvass the neighborhood of Moxham. All who will join us, and we will walk through the streets of Moxham. Then at 7:30, we will conclude the walk at St. Patrick's Church on Park Avenue, and that's where we will have a candlelight service, a prayer and a candlelight service. So if you can't walk, and you know what, and you can drive, get in your car, get 2 cases of water, and ride along, because guess what? Somebody's gonna need to go to the bathroom. It's gonna be me. All right, and then you wanna know what, so you don't have to go to Sheets, go to the bathroom, and come right back. Somebody might need some water, if you have first aid kit, whatever. I'm just asking that those who will, and if not, if you see it on Facebook, that you would share it, or just come be a part of it. I'm gonna sit down before I get on my high horse about us really not knowing each other and not talking to one another, because people are walking down the street and you say hello and it scares them because they don't pay attention to you, because this is what they're doing, walking down the street. They're just looking at their phone the whole entire time, and they never look up and just say hello. I am persuaded that what's wrong with our society is that we need some more kindness, and this is just a way showing forth that kindness. So I encourage you to join us on Thursday at 4:30 at 536 Grove Avenue, and I encourage you to mingle, get to meet the people in this room, introduce yourself, especially those of you who have businesses. If you don't know somebody, you need to introduce yourself to that person. You never know what might come of that relationship. God bless you, and thank you for being here.
All right. Well, I'm everybody, if you haven't eaten,